All right, bitches, what is going on? The quarterfinals are done in the VNL, and I'm going to break them down for you. I just decided to do it live, go old school a little bit, because I didn't really feel like editing. And it's not that it's hard, it just takes a little bit of time. So, and honestly, I was up late into the night. I didn't sleep well. Well, I was up late, and then I was up early. I didn't sleep well. I missed the USA-China game. I should have done a stream for it. I'm regretting that, and I'm feeling a little tired. So we're just going to rip this live, and you're going to have to deal with all of my stuttering. Okay? But yeah, we had we had 3 good quarterfinal matches here at the VNL. 3 of them were great. One of them was as I was expected, and that's the only one that went as expected, as I went 1-3 in my predictions in this VNL. I had predicted Italy over Netherlands. I predicted Japan over Brazil. I predicted Canada over Turkey. Bias got me on that one. And I predicted USA over China, which was hands down the biggest upset we saw in this first week. So we're going to break down the 4 matches. I'll get you ready and a preview for the semifinals as well a little bit. And so without further ado, let's go first and foremost over to Italy and the Netherlands. This one, not really surprised. Not really surprised at all. I mean, Italy is the best team in the world, bar none. They have their entire lineup. So they were out there ready to go. As I mentioned in my preview, I thought the Dutch were a little lucky. We're a little lucky to have made the finals, right? Their only win was against Turkey, and Turkey's very young team in week number 1. And after that, they kind of got a little lucky with their schedule. And I mean, Italy was just too much for the Dutch. They were too much for them in serve. They were too much for them in block. They were too much for them in side out. They just didn't make any errors, only 10 errors in the 3 sets of play. Antropova led the way with 16 points. I thought Oro did a fantastic job just spreading out that offense. Antropova got 28 sets. Silla got 20 sets. Nervini got 22 sets. I mean, it was Denesi was 5 for 7 down the middle. Oro was 3 for 3 as well. Sarah Farr was 8 for 10 with a block as well and an ace. It was just a really good performance from Italy as we were come to expect from them, right? Like they were just so damn good, and they really just dominated this match up and down. There's no other way to put it. Like it wasn't like I didn't watch it. All I did was watch the highlights because I knew what to expect, right? And apparently that's all I knew what to expect because I was not good at calling any of the other games at all. Any of the other games. I was not good at calling them. So let's just go over to the Brazil and Japan game because I'm trying to be expeditious about this, right? Whenever I record videos, I tend to say things twice. So we're working on that. But looking over at the Brazil-Japan match, man, this was an outstanding match from both teams. Went 4 sets, only 30 combined errors between these 2 teams. Because they were just going back and forth. They were just going back and forth the entire time. But, as I said going into this one, I thought Japan had the advantage because Brazil was going to be without Julia Kudis. Right? Brazil was one of the best blocking teams in the intercontinental round. I did not think they were going to be able to do that without Julia Kudis. And through, the first set, I thought that was actually going to be the case. I thought it actually looked like that was going to be the case. But as you see right here on these stats on the screen, 15 blocks for Brazil in this one. 15 blocks. They also had 63 kills. And for me, it comes down to a few things. I mean, on the offensive side, Anna Cristina and Julia Bergman were both monsters. Anna Cristina in particular, she was outstanding. I mean, what were her numbers here? She had 30 points in this 4-set match. 30 points. She was 25 for 46 with 3 blocks and 2 aces. Bergman had 24 points. She was 20 for 45, also with 2 blocks and with 2 aces. Both of them passing over 50% positive as well too. It was just a domination on the left side for Brazil, but I was really impressed by the play of Lucia. She came in partway through the second set, and her blocking is really what shut the door for Brazil. Lorena started the match. She got subbed out partway through the second set, and Lucia came in with 4 blocks. Offensively, not that great. She's 2 for 5, but Lucia was out there with 4 blocks. And I mean, you look up and down this lineup. As I mentioned, Anna Cristina had 3 blocks. Julia Bergman had 2 blocks. Lucia had 2 blocks. Rosa Maria had a couple of blocks. Gianna, the other middle blocker, had 3 blocks as well. And that's really where Brazil kind of controlled the play at the net. And then they were able just to set outlet balls out to Anna Cristina and Julia Bergman. I thought both of them were fantastic. I mean, Japan did come out very strong in this one. They won that first set 26-24. They're very competitive in the second as well. Like, there was a chance for Japan to potentially go up 2-0 in the second. Ultimately couldn't take it. But the third is where this game really changed. We saw Brazil really elevate their defensive intensity and start making some defensive plays. And when Brazil is out there blocking the way that they were blocking, siding out the way that they were siding out, and playing defense the way they were playing defense, you know it was going to get really good. And the other thing about it is that, you know, Japan really limited their errors through the first few sets, right? Didn't miss any serves, like 1 error in that first set. That's ultimately why they were able to win it. Kind of got a little bit worse. They had 3 errors in the second set, and in the third it really opened up, right? So they had 1 error through the first 2 sets, then they had 2 in the third, 1 serving error through the first 2 sets, 2 in the third, and then they had 3 in the fourth on top of another 3 attacking errors. So we just really saw that level from Japan drop throughout the match. And it's kind of what I talked about earlier in the preview and wrapping up, you know, the Intercontinental round, that Japan is like a really nice car. They're really good watch. When they're playing at their top of their game, they are outstanding and they're really hard to play against. But the tiniest little bit of dust or a little bit of fatigue, or, you know, something not going great with one of their outside hitters, and that's really what it comes down to. You know, it comes down to Wada, Ishikawa, and Yoshino. If one of them isn't able to get the job done, then everything kind of blows up there. Now, Japan, they got slapped around pretty well in that third set, but I thought they did a really good job of answering, because they even went up 18-15 in the fourth, right? They were up 18-15 in the fourth, and it looked like they were going to be able to pull it off. And that happened by 2 things. 2 things were happening. They started pressuring Julia Bergman. She shanked a couple, so that's how it created the bit of separation. She also got blocked and she got a miss. Like, Bergman looked a little bit shaky there, and there was a rally, or one of the best rallies of the match happened at 18-15. And Japan had a lot of swings, and had they been able to take care of the details of that rally at that point, they would have been able to go up to 19-15. I think it would have changed everything. But Anna Cristina was able to get the ball back, get the kill from them. And then, you know, it's funny because I was doing the live stream for this match as well, and there was a lot of talk in the chat of being like, oh, here's Julia Bergman choking in a big match, choking, you know, in gut check time. And instead, Bergman turned around after kind of fumbling a few balls in the middle of that fourth set, allowing Japan to go ahead. Bergman went 3 for 3 in attack and finished off the match with an ace. So I thought she was outstanding, right? Anna Cristina, and I mean, it was so interesting listening to Farhat Akbash's timeouts, because he would talk about, you know, the different approach that they were taking for each player. You know, whereas like Anna Cristina, we're just going to try to block her straight on. And I mean, Anna Cristina was just going straight OTs. Over top, she was coming in on the angle and going OT or going down the line, because when Wada wasn't able to close that block and get a hand on it or create, you know, try to take it away an angle, Anna Cristina was just bouncing down the line, but she was just going straight OT. But we saw Julia Bergman hit the angles, right? We saw her attack that ball quick, going to the sideline. We also saw her be a little bit patient and let it come over to her left shoulder and crush it down the line. So she really showed her full range in this match, and I was really impressed by the way that Julia Bergman played. Overall, I was very impressed by the way that Brazil played in general. Once they started getting that momentum going, they really started pushing. And I mean, they had 54 combined points from the two outside hitters. So that is massive. And on the Japan side of things, I mean, it was interesting because they talked to Farhad Akbash at the end of the tournament and asked him, how he felt. And he seemed to be pleased. And I really think that, this Japanese team just misses depth. That's really what they're missing, because even we saw Shimamura come off in that fourth set for Yamaguchi, and she made one nice block, like offensively or defensively, but then missed a couple of swings on offense, and there was an error there that really helped Brazil get back into that match. And at that point too, you started seeing the level of Yoshino Sato drop. They brought in Kitamoto in the third set, and she really wasn't able to do much. She was 1 for 4 with negative efficiency. They brought in Akimoto as well when they wanted to do the double sub in that third set. And overall, you could just see the level of Japan drop as that match progressed, because Wada, Ishikawa, Shimamura, Sato, Seki, Yamada, especially after the injury to the other middle, I'm blanking on their name at the moment. They've just played so many minutes over the course of this VNL, right? So it's just difficult to go out there and have to play time and time again and minute by minute by minute, and you really saw their level drop over the course of that VNL. So I think the big thing for this Japanese team to do, and also, like, you're playing against Brazil. They came into this match with an 8-2 record against Brazil. And yes, they typically go to 5. They had gone to 5-6 of the past matches between these two teams, but they're still playing against Brazil, and they have an 8-2 record against them. The cards weren't in their favor. I thought, as I mentioned before, that the absence of Julia Kudis would maybe give Japan a bit of an advantage. That's the way it seemed earlier on in the first half of the match. But Brazil, on top of doing everything else really, really well, really upped their defensive intensity in the fourth set, or in the third set. And then we saw it in gut check time in the fourth set as well. Sorry, mixing those two up to be able to take this match in 4. And it was honestly a very entertaining match. It was a very entertaining match to watch. And appreciate all you who joined me. Yes, Araki. Sorry, bless the goggle lady. You're right. I blanked on her name there, but I do think Araki would have made a difference. Just the way Shimamami, as we like to call Shimamura, and Araki play in the middle. Like they didn't bring Eri Miyabe to this to the finals either. So just not that much depth on the Japanese side of things, whereas Brazil is Brazil. What can you say about it? All right, moving on. Those were the 2 matches on Wednesday, right? Today's Thursday. Does that track? Yeah, that tracks. Today's Thursday. The 2 games today, and of course the first one, got to talk about it. Canada against Turkey. And now, just to preface my call and what I thought that was going to happen from this match, is that I thought that given how Canada plays, and how Turkey plays, Canada's not a great serve receive team. Turkey is not a great serving team, except for one player. She could do no wrong in this one for sure. Early on, she wasn't great, but then Vargas was just unreal throughout the rest of this match. But given that Turkey isn't a great serving team, and Canada, was going to be able to release that, I thought they were going to have a little bit of advantage. And I thought with Guidetti, they were really going to be able to push them. And it did seem like that early. Canada came out swinging. Canada came out looking really, really good. And Vargas was held to 1 for 6 in the first set until she went 3 for 3. She started this match 1 for 6 with an error. Then she finished it 3 for 3. And, Canada did a good job of just spreading that ball around in the first set. Van Wright got 8, Gray got 5, Guzin got 3, Maglio got 2, Thokboom had 3. And it did really look like Canada was going to be able to really pressure and play with Turkey. In the set number 2, right off the bat, Vargas was at another level. I think she started the set 8 for 9 and then finished the set. No, she started the set 7 for 7, then finished the set 9 for 12. She went 12 for 15 from the end of the first to the beginning of the second. And that's when Turkey really found their mojo. They really started to find their mojo. I see here Vargas going 9 for 12 and really putting the pressure on. But through 2 sets, you had 2 teams who were attacking very, very efficiently. In set number 2, Turkey was 64%, hitting a 59% efficiency. Canada was hitting a 52% with a 41% efficiency. Both really good job. And it did kind of feel like if Canada could just start getting a dig or getting a block touch or slowing down Vargas a little bit, that they would be able to take advantage of it. Not all the time, because you're not going to be able to stop Vargas all the time, but just a few times, just a little bit, they would be able to take advantage of that. And that's exactly what happened at the beginning of the third. Exactly what happened at the beginning of the third. That's when Canada started to really push back. Kira Van Rijk went on a serving run at the beginning of the third. I mean, it was a battle of 2 of the best opposites in the world, 2 of the best servers in the world. Kira went back, served a couple aces. Canada took a lead, 8-4. And I was like, oh, my prediction's looking pretty good. We could push them to 5 here at the very least. Turkey comes back. And then Canada went ahead again, this time 17-12. But, at that point, they were really starting down to slow. You see Vargas's numbers here in this third set. She was 6 for 15. 6 for 15, and Canada was up 17-12. 17-12. And now at 17-12, there was for the 17th point for Canada, there was a call that Santorelli wasn't happy with. He thought it was 4 touches because it nicked Doli Thukbum as she was trying to get in front of it. She did dump, and she did touch it above the net, so it was technically a block, so it didn't count as 4 touches. But it just took all of the momentum out of the sails from Canada. And they went from going, really dominating the match and dominating the pace of the play at the net from the baseline. Their offense was cooking. I thought Abby Guzin was fantastic, especially for a 20-year-old too. Kira Van Rijk was playing like Kira Van Rijk. And then Melissa Vargas goes back to serve. And that's kind of when everything changed. That's when everything changed, right? Like everything altogether. It went from 17-12 to Canada to 19-18 for Turkey, and Turkey never looked back. Canada looked shell-shocked. They forgot how to play defense. They started playing sloppy. They were rushing the offense at that point, and that's really when Canada settled in, or Turkey settled into things. And you know what? As much as I'm sitting here praising the play of Melissa Vargas, I mean, she was outstanding. She was outstanding in this match. She had 27 points, 4 aces. She hit 23 for 43, hitting a 53% with a 48% efficiency. She was outstanding, but I really think you also need to give a lot of credit to Hande Baladin. Hande Baladin, in that comeback, took some gutsy swings. And over the course of the match, like early on in this first set, she really carried Turkey in a lot of ways. And these passing numbers, outstanding. 68% positive, 27% perfect. That's what you want to see. And then she hit 13 for 20, hitting a 65% with a 55% efficiency. I thought Hande Baladin was outstanding. I honestly hate all the Hande Baladin slander that's out there. I don't think she deserves it. I really don't. Now, in the fourth set, Canada just really cramped up. They lost their play style altogether, lost any of their momentum. And ultimately, earlier in the set, I thought they might be able to stick with it and possibly send it to 5. But ultimately, I mean, Turkey was just the better team in this one. Unfortunately, but they were. I thought Canada had an outstanding VNL altogether, their best finish of all time. They were the first Canadian team to win a set in the VNL finals as well too. Although it's probably not going to happen anytime soon with the men, given how everything with the bullshit that they're going on. Yeah, like it was a really good match for 2.5 sets. It was a really good match for 3 sets. And then Turkey took over and Canada kind of just capitulated to them altogether. But I'm really proud of this Canadian team and how they played. Kira Van Rijk showed that she could be one of the best opposites in the world to me. Like she's like the 6th best opposite in the world. You've got the elite 5 of Igonu and Varga and Antropova and Hawk and Boskovic, of course. And then I would have, in no particular order, in those top 5. And then I'd have Kira Van Rijk after that. And yeah, just very, very happy and proud with the way these women played, because it was a treat to watch. Guidetti has done amazing things with this team. And as he said he said it earlier in the tournament, he said at the end of this match too, Canada can beat anyone and also lose to anyone. And I think especially we really showed both ends of the spectrum on that, beating the U.S., beating China, beating the Netherlands, beating Poland, going to 5 with Japan, going to 5 with Italy, the way we played against Turkey in this one, and then losing to Thailand. That's just Canada in a nutshell. Just addressing some comments there, saying Turkey is one of the best serving teams in the world. I'm surprised by your comment. Turkey is not one of the best serving teams in the world. By no metric is Turkey one of the best serving teams in the world. Turkey is one of the worst serving teams technically in the VNL. They serve easy float serves. That's like, and then Vargas gets aces. So there's no metrics that say that Turkey is one of the best serving teams in the world. But I will say Turkey did look very, very good in this one. It is a shame they don't have Ebra Karakurt for this tournament, because I've loved watching her progression, and I think she would really if they had the Black Wolf out there. Is it Black Wolf? Is that her nickname? Grey Wolf? Black Wolf? Doesn't matter. If they have Karakurt in this tournament, it would be very, very dangerous. And ultimately, they were fun to watch. This Turkish team is fun to watch, and I'm proud that Canada was able to push them the way they did. And I mean, hats off to Melissa Vargas for being an absolute stud and one of the best players in women's volleyball. Aren't we lucky to get to live in this era of women's volleyball where there's just so many outstanding players to watch? It's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. Yeah, that's all I did say all my notes. Good. All right, finally, heading over to the match that I was kind of looking down upon. Pink Wolf. Black Wolf. Black Wolf. I haven't heard Pink Wolf before. Okay. Karakurt means Black Wolf. But yeah, overall, congratulations, Turkey. You guys deserved every bit of that. Now, heading over to the last match, and now this morning, everyone was asking me, are you going to watch along? Are you doing a watch along? Now, Canada-Turkey started at 4 a.m. for me. So I slept on the couch, turned on my alarm. I woke up at 3:30, got everything going, did the stream, chatted with you guys for an hour after the match. And I did have a moment where I was like, maybe I should just go make myself a pot of coffee, make myself, some protein pancakes. My girlfriend can wake up to some protein pancakes, and just go and stream this USA China match. It's going to be done quickly. It's probably going to be a 3-dong for the US. They've been crushing it throughout this tournament, and China has not been it. China has not been it in the second half. And as I was having these thoughts, I was sitting on the couch, and I may or may not have fallen asleep. And this was probably around 7 a.m. 9 a.m. I wake up. 9 a.m. I wake up, and I immediately check my phone. As I do during the VNL, first thing I do, check my phone, go to Flash Score, check the scores. And I see they're in the 5th set, and I was like, what is going on? So I turn on that 5th set to watch China beat the U.S., and I was blown away. I actually went back and watched this match back over again. And I have to say, I'm going to bring up my notes here so I make sure that I have everything. Now, I think a lot of the credit needs to go to China instead of sitting here and pointing fingers and blaming the U.S. I really think a lot of the credit needs to go to China. I really do. They played an outstanding match sets 2-5. Set 1 was an absolute write-off for China. The U.S. dominated in set 1. They dominated the first half of set 2 as well. They just looked confident. Their serve receive was good. Their serve and block was good. Their side out was clean. They were dominating. And I mean, even like offensively, you'll see here like 74 kills for the U.S. They went out there and dominated offensively. But China did a couple of things midway through that second set. First and foremost, they really turned on the serving pressure. And you'll see down here, I mean, if you want to look at the overall stats and these serving stats for the U.S., on the match, they passed 47% positive, 12% perfect. Those numbers go down as this match continues. 40 and 20 in the first, 41 and 27 in the second, which is funny. I thought those numbers were way worse in the second because in the second set, there was a 3 or 4 point lead for the U.S. that got evaporated just because they couldn't get the ball into Poulter's hands at the net. In the third set, 0% perfect passing. In the fourth set, 8% perfect passing. In the fifth set, 7% perfect passing. They could not get the ball to the net and allow them to open things up. And then also in the second set, China made the switch, and now, they've been kind of going away from Zhang Jinwei in this setting position. They went with Xi for this match, and she was clearly not it. So they went to, for the first time really since Paris 24, they went to Diao Lin Yu, and she immediately just set this Chinese team into a state of calmness. Where, it felt like China was playing with house money. It felt like they were playing with zero pressure on their backs. It felt like China was just going out there and playing without any care in the world. From the baseline, they were just ripping serves. Offensively, they were just going for it. They were playing aggressively in attack as well. And it definitely knocked the U.S. off kilter. For sets 2-3. All of a sudden, U.S. was leaning back and was like, oh my goodness, China's coming at us real hard right now. And, once again, to defend the U.S. on this, I think it's really hard to game plan for a setter you haven't seen since 2024, who no one's really seen since 2024, because, Diao Lin Yu really came in and there was just an air of calm over this Chinese team. And whether it was Tong or Zhang Yushan or Gong, Gong especially was out there pretty much balling because, this is a player who played in the U.S. and for League One this year, so she's very aware of what the Americans were able to do, and they were just really able to play freely. They passed the ball pretty well, especially on in the later sets. Like, look, set 3 where they dominated here, 59% positive, 28% perfect. Set 4, even though they didn't win this one, 55% positive, 25% perfect. Set 5, 54% positive, 15% perfect. And it kind of felt like U.S. came out, the heavyweight title winners. They had that belt. Even though China has beat the U.S. 4 times coming into this match, 4 straight times China has beat the U.S., but the U.S. just felt confident. They felt confident through the first. They felt confident at the beginning of the second. And then China was just kind of like, screw this, and started throwing haymakers, and it started pushing U.S. back. Now, the U.S. did get their footing back in the fourth set. They started to figure out their offense a little bit more. I thought Dana Retke was outstanding She was really, really good. I saw some people being like, oh, no, she was bad in the fifth because she got blocked twice. First of all, she didn't get stuffed block. She got soft block. And neither of them were like, they were both like way off the net sets where she wasn't really in a situation to be terminal. I mean, she was 14, 420 overall with 4 blocks. She hit a 70% efficiency in this one. And now we saw the U.S. carry that momentum from the fourth set into the fifth set. They were up 6-3 at one point. And then there's just these little errors. I'm a big fan of Asia O'Neal. She hits a step around out. 6-4. Then they go outside to Eggleston. She hits a ball out. Or sorry, that the O'Neal error was for 6-5. Then Eggleston hits a ball out, and all of a sudden it's 6-6, and then 6-6, and then the U.S. once again goes up, and then you have an Avery Skinner error. So for the U.S. to have 3 unforced errors, to get blocked 3 times in that fifth set, and to me, in the fifth set, it kind of started to get into them where it's like, oh shit, we might actually lose this match. And I don't think that had really come to their thoughts until that point. That's like, oh damn, we might actually lose this match. And we've been so focused, we've been so confident this entire time, we actually hadn't thought that losing was a possibility. Not in a cocky way, right? This isn't any way, shape, or form to say that, to bring down the U.S. in the way they were playing. I thought they looked supremely confident, as they should. They are the number 1 team in the Intercontinental round. They dominated the Intercontinental round. They hit a 35% efficiency. The next highest team, Stuckey in Brazil, only hit a 30% efficiency. But they were not they looked scared at moments in that fifth set, and they made uncharacteristic errors in that fifth set. Whereas, once again, China was just playing free. They were just playing free and without any worries at all. And I've been saying it for a while. This Chinese team is dangerous. This Chinese team is so dangerous because, this is a team that doesn't have Li Yingying. This is a team that doesn't have Wu Menjie. This is a team that doesn't have a Zhu Ting out there. And they've got these young kids coming up. All I'm going to say is watch out for the communists invading in LA 2028. It could be interesting. It could be interesting. But yeah, as I said, I don't think that this was a complete loss. I honestly just think that, it's one of those games where the U.S., China got the better of the U.S. That's all that is. If the U.S. took some more risk at serving, they would have been a super easy win. Yes, I agree, but the U.S. isn't that team. They don't take a lot of risks in serving, right? They're not an Italy or a Canada who go out there and take risks in serving, even in Brazil. And they don't really have any fantastic servers. So, yeah, we'll have to see. But I was very impressed by this Chinese team. All right, looking forward to the semifinals. I'm not going to make the mistake. This team, Canada, would beat China 3-0. Were they given the chance? Maybe. I think it's way easier for a Chinese team to get up to play an American team than it is to get up and play a Canadian team, if you know what I mean. And I'm not gonna be one of those ones who's gonna jump on the Eric Sullivan hate train, but Giovanni Guidetti is one of the best in the world for a reason. Now, looking forward at these semifinals. First and foremost, yes, I will be doing watch-alongs for both of these matches. I will be doing watch-alongs for both of these matches, 100%. But first and foremost, Italy against Brazil. Another round of this classic matchup. How many times has this matchup gone to 5? So many times. so many times. Two of the best teams in the world. Of course, they went to 5 earlier in the year in this VNL. They went to 5 at the World Championships last year. They went to 5 in the VNL in 2024. They went to 5 at the World Championships in 2022. This is going to be another good one. I will have to say, though, for the same reason I thought Japan was going to get the best of Italy, or the best of Brazil, I do think that is going to hurt Brazil in this one. Not only do you not have Julia Kudis, who is the best middle blocker in the world at the moment, you also don't have Gabi. Italy, on the other hand, has their guns. They've got Antropova and Agonu. They've got Silla. They've got Oro. They've got Denesi. You know, sure, you like that's like Italy has their whole team right now. Brazil does not. So for that specific reason. Now, I'm not saying it's impossible by Brazil. You're going to have an incredible game from the Anna Cristina and Julia Bergman duo, though. You're going to have an outstanding game from both of those ones. And Rosa Maria needs to be a little bit more involved in the offense than she was in this one. No doubt about it. I think Gianna and Lucia need to be game changers in the middle as well, because playing against Sarah Farr and Denesi is not like playing against Yamada and Shimamura. That's for damn sure. So it's going to be a much bigger battle in the middle. And then I need Marcel to be out there making game-changing plays on defense. Game-changing plays on defense. I do think that, the one big question about this matchup is who starts for Italy? Are you going to go with Agonu or are you going to go with Antropova? It's been Antropova, right? She started the quarterfinals. She started all the matches in week number 3. So I'm going to sit here and assume that, she like that Antropova is going to be that player, that she's going to be the go-to. And you know what? So far, Agonu hasn't seemed to worry about it either. It seems to be all good vibes over there for the Italian team. So because of that, I think Italy is going to take this match 3-1. That's what I'm calling Italy in 3-1. And on the other side, this one I think is going to be a really interesting match. These two teams have gone to 4 in their past 4 meetings. Turkey won it this year. They won it last year. They won it at the Olympic Games. China won the VNL in 2024. Turkey won the VNL in 2023. China won the VNL in 2022. Like, it just goes back and forth between these two teams. I do think, though, much like China would have had a hard time against Canada because of how well prepared they're going to be, I think China's going to have a difficult time against Turkey, given the fact that you have Daniele Santarelli out there. First and foremost, who has a full day tomorrow to game plan for this match. Technically today, because I think it's morning time in Asia. And then on top of that, I don't know if China can run with a Melissa Vargas. As good as Jordan Thompson is, and as good as Jordan Thompson was in that quarterfinal match, I don't think China can run with a Melissa Vargas, and I think she can overpower them in every step of the game. I think it's going to need to take another outstanding game to be able to compete with her. I really do. I think this is going to be another Melissa Vargas show, and I'm going for Turkey in this one. I'm also going to go 3-1. I think China wins the first, and then Turkey wins the next 3, like they did against Canada in the quarterfinals. So yeah, that's my little preview there. I don't think I need to break it down all that much. Italy could really push Anna Cristina out of the game by serving on her. If her reception won't be enough, it's going to be hard for her to stay on the court probably. Yeah, and if her reception won't be enough, it'll just be hard for her to stay mentally strong. Japan doesn't really put a lot of pressure on teams from their serving. They serve more tactically than really putting pressure on the other teams. And yes, they put a lot of balls on the left side hitters, but they were mostly going at Anna Cristina and Souza, and it wasn't really enough. It wasn't really enough. Italy, on the other hand, they can go up the lineup and put some pressure in, especially you've got that double sub coming in as well too. And you've got to deal with Antropova and Agonu serving at you throughout the set. That will be difficult. That will be difficult. But yeah, once again, Saturday morning, everything is in Eastern time as I talk about it. Brazil against Italy at 4 a.m. Eastern time. And then China against Turkey at 7:30 a.m. Eastern time. And hopefully those matches don't go too long, so I can go do Pilates afterwards too. Do you think Eggleston should be on the U.S. team? Do we have other players that should be given a chance to play in the VNL? Yeah, I absolutely think Eggleston should be on the U.S. team. 100%. 100%. You know, you're got to think of like a Kathleen Plummer or a Kalia Lanier, both of who just turned down the spot because they needed the summer off a little bit. Like otherwise, who are you going to go to? I know. I think Eggleston played well. I really think she did. I really think she did. Okay. So if you want to come join me for the watch along Saturday morning, 4 a.m., 7:30 a.m., maybe I'll make some pancakes in between and answer some questions on Twitch or something. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for tuning in. As always, go check out the Volleyball Source Discord. Come follow me on Twitch at That Volleyball Guy. And I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your week. Goodbye.